Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round number 13 of the F1 Race Department Championship on the PlayStation 4. And we are at the wonderful Monza circuit in Italy. We've got a dry qualifying and a dry race. And we've currently got drivers out on the circuit. Myself, Jamie Mayers, alongside Michael Fleming, as per usual. And Michael, I just want to say, before we get into the heavy stuff of qualifying and the race, well done on your new creation, so to speak.
Yeah, really excited about this creation. Obviously, we do have one of our drivers for Fathom Sports, Sean, driving today, currently leading the championship. So yeah, it's a very exciting time. Bit thin on the ground for today's session. Unfortunately, only 14 drivers. I assume that may have something to do with a certain football match. Yeah, Yeovil Town versus Swansea City has kicked off. So we've lost a few people to that, but we should still be in for an exciting race this evening.
Yep, it is Monza, one of the oldest racetracks on the calendar, and usually one of the most fun if you can keep all the cars in the slipstream with each other. Drew just locking up there on the entry into turn 1, not costing himself too much time. I think Mikey is ahead of him on the circuit, so we shall follow him in the Ferrari in his backyard with the Tifosi lining the side of the track, and he very nearly put it in the barriers right in front of him. Through the Ascari chicane, and out goes Charlie, my former commentary partner. He's not having a fun time of it, as it seems. I think he's just disconnected with the server, but he should be back.
Yeah, Mikey getting horribly out of shape through Lesmo 2, so I don't imagine this will be a particularly competitive time. Not bad considering 20.9. I think last season's pole here was a 1 minute 20.1 set by some Williams driver, and I would hope that we'd be definitely looking at 1 minute 19s for the top guys like Mitchell and Sean by the end of the session.
There we go, we've got Drew currently up on a 20.8. We've got your I don't know, flagship driver currently heading into turn 1 for the start of his lap, taking lots of the sausage curb on the apex of the second part of that chicane. Didn't seem to upset the car too much. Times flooding in, and we've got Mitchell going fastest on the 20.3, 2/10 off of last season's pole position, but that was of course the first run, so of course times are going to get quicker as the session progresses. We've also seemingly got one driver on the medium tyre, that is Sean number 2. Not really sure what that strategy is about, but yeah, see if that works. Sean a little bit wide there, in the middle of Ascari. Not quite where you'd want to be on the circuit, as the tropical squash drink goes second on a 20.6.
Yeah, Sean, I would assume that time's going to be invalidated. He ran very wide at Ascari, although he hasn't abandoned the lap, so I mean, he's completed the lap time, maybe just for a delta. He's not got enough fuel to go around again. But I think he got a little bit distracted by Andrew's ghost car going into the Rettifilio. That's a very odd...
I think Drew just crashed into the back of Sean number 2 in the pit lane. I didn't quite catch what sort of penalty that was that gave him. I think it's a grid penalty.
Said 0 place grid penalty, as this game does. From my experience, that's just a glitch, and Andrew will end up with a 5-place grid penalty wherever he qualifies. So he'll be absolutely cursing it after putting it 4th on his first run. But yeah, that's not what you want. I think he paused the game on his in-lap because he was ghosted through chicane when Sean went past, and yeah, I guess there's been some sort of incident there, but that is unfortunate for him.
Yeah, but this is Monza, so you can't really count anything out. He should be able to get back in the mix. Just looking at drivers on the track. Guy goes up to 5th position while all that was going on. Decent lap from him. And yeah, the only driver that we're waiting to see the actual pace of is Sean, who is just cruising back down the back straight. We've got a little bit of time before the second set of runs start. I think Sean number 2's just put on the super soft tyre as well for his next run. Probably didn't get on well with the mediums.
Probably worth noting that we do have a new driver in for this race. Shane, currently sitting in P9 there with a fairly respectable 21.3. He was actually the PS4 season 11, sorry, PS3 season 11 champion. What a dramatic fall from grace he's had. But representing FAP Esports tonight with a solid 9th place so far.
I was going to say he's a man that likes to fap.
Yep.
He's, like you said, he's currently in 9th position. But yeah, still got a long way to go. We've got 3 minutes and 50 seconds of this session remaining. No one really, apart from Jerry on his outlap. Red Bull Cola is also out on outlap, as is Gerard, Luke and Sean number 2. So it's about to get all spiced up again.
Yeah, and I'd be intrigued to see what Jerry can do. He's had a couple of sensational qualifying sessions. If you remember back to Hungary, he put it on the second row of the grid, and his pace has really come on. But despite having 2 laps of fuel in the tank, he's decided to come in, whether he got some sort of next lap invalidation or something. But that's definitely not ideal for him. Maybe he went out on the same set of tyres, but he's called that one off. So I guess we will switch our attentions to Sean number 2, who's done exactly the same.
So here comes Luke to start his lap. So he's probably the only one that's actually going to get another lap time. Down into turn 1, locks the outside front, but gets the car in nicely. He's got a second in which to improve, otherwise he's not even going to be moving up the grid at the moment. Obviously his lap time was very tardy, maybe he got traffic on his last run, not entirely sure. And that's not going to help, bouncing off that sausage curb into the gravel. Didn't seem to cost him as much time, as we've got mostly everyone else out, apart from Mikey hasn't gone out. Jerry's still in the pits, Sean number 2 is in the pits, and Charlie I don't think has rejoined.
We do have Mitchell just gearing up for a lap, but unfortunately does appear to have some traffic a little bit ahead of him, so whether that will hold him up on this lap we will see. But I do think the car ahead is on a lap. It's Shane, currently in P9, so we'll see how that pans out. But Mitchell will be looking to improve his 20.3, and sometimes having a car a little ways up the road isn't so much of a bad thing, especially here at Monza. If you can just tag in, get a tow, and increase that straight line speed, which is oh so important here, it could really work to his benefit.
Yep, Luke does cross the line on a 22.3, so it's an improvement, but nowhere near enough of an improvement to where he would want to be. Just jumping on board with Mitchell. I think that's a Ferrari in front of him. So that will be Mikey in front of him, I believe.
It's Shane, I think.
Ah yes, I do apologise. It is indeed. Mikey is just entering Parabolica. It happens. Gerard out of the session. 21.1, decent lap time. That Ferrari's gone very wide. Not sure if it invalidates your lap there, but it's given Mitchell a hell of a tow, and that's a 20.0. A very good lap time. 0.6 clear of anyone else. And he calls it a day. Got Gatis coming out the final corner. See what he can do. Can he continue his impressive form in qualifying? No, he can't. He does not improve. Drew just coming into the second chicane.
Troy bailed out in the lap as well.
Let's watch Mikey. Mikey's on the run down to the Ascari chicane. Now he's been complaining that he's not been getting this corner right in testing. Seemed to do decently through there, but he's wiggling the car, so maybe he didn't get the run through there that he wanted. I think that's Sean behind him as well, so that might give Sean a bit of a tow. Well, I think he's a bit far back for that. And Mikey aboard. Well,
wow.
Yeah, Mikey didn't improve.
Sean got invalidated with his time, so he stays 14th and at the very back of the grid.
I think.
Meanwhile, all of that was going on. Ben has popped up into second for one of his best qualifying performances of the season.
Fantastic stuff from him, and that, unfortunately, is quite anticlimactic, but that brings our qualifying to an end. We just wait for the drivers to come back to the pits. Hello to everybody in the chat. Nice to see you. We didn't really get anybody in the chat last time out, so it's good to see that some people remembered where we are.
Yeah, it was a bizarre session, really. It's not often you see almost everyone bottle their second run. I don't think we saw drastic improvements from anyone except for Ben and Mitchell, who happened to line up first and second on the grid. So it was really important to make those improvements, and it's ended up with a widespread grid, really. 0.6, as you say, covering first to third. And some of the faster guys at the back. I'm excited to see what Sean's progress is like on a track where you can make overtakes.
Yeah, I'm quite excited and terrified at the same time. We know what his version of overtaking looks like.
I think he's got a lot better in the last sort of 6 months or so. Definitely making more measured overtaking manoeuvres and just have those out when it's absolutely necessary. So hopefully, it's a performance from him.
So there you have it, Mitchell on quite a commanding pole in the end, on 20 flat. We've got Ben in second, we've got Tropicana in third, we've got Gatis in fourth, we've got Drew in fifth, Guy in sixth, Mikey in seventh. Actually, I tell a lie because Drew has that penalty, so that's going to drop him down to 10th position. And now we just wait for the race session to begin. Hopefully everybody gets a good start.
It's one of the most sort of nerve-wracking starts of the entire calendar, really, because obviously getting that launch is so important. It is a long run down into turn one, and it's all about picking your braking point. You go too early and you risk being piled into, and you brake too late and it could be race over at turn one. So it's so tricky to get just right, and you've also just got to be aggressive enough to make sure that you're not losing too many positions. I led from pole here last season and made the mistake of braking a little too late into turn one. and had to cut it and give the place up, and that cost me the race win, unfortunately. So very nerve-wracking for the drivers, both out the front and the back of the field for this one.
Here we go. Our 30-second countdown has begun. Like you said, it's a 638-meter run from the pole position to the apex of turn 1. So I wonder how many wide we're going to see on that run. I mean, it's quite wide up until the end of the pit lane, and then it kind of narrows out quite a lot. We shall see as the lights come on. We are away in Monza. It's a good start there by Ben. I think he's got a better start than Mitchell. They're running side by side down into turn number 1. We've got 3 wide in the middle. Wow, Ben gave that up quite easily, and Mitchell takes the lead. Ben slots into 2nd, Troy into 3rd, Gatis into 4th. We've also got side by side action with Mikey moving up into 5th place. We've got Ben attacking for the lead, but again backs out of it quite early. Mitchell getting a little squirrely. Manages to defend from Troy, who sticks it up the inside into Lesmo 1, but can't get the job done. I think Gerard and Luke may have got together in the background. Yeah, Luke reversing back onto the circuit will probably get disqualified. There we go. For that, and Charlie and Gerard attacking each other down into Ascari. We've also got Sean attacking Sean number 2 into Ascari and getting up to 10th position. He's going to want to try and close up to these guys as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that was carnage at the back. Everyone made it through turn 1 and 2 so very well. I was expecting the front wings to be flying everywhere. I don't think anyone got any damage from turn 1, but at the back certainly there was a bit of a crash between Sean and Charlie, and a separate one between the Haas cars as Troy goes head to head with Ben into turn 1.
Look at that, that's enabled Gatis to attack as well. Couldn't quite get the run out of turn 1. He's going to hope that Troy gets boxed in here. Oh, banging wheels down into the 2nd chicane. Will manage to come out of it alive. Mikey needs to be careful though as he attacks Gatis around the outside. Does he manage to get through? No, he backs out and gives that back to Gatis. This is of course a long race. We've got 27 laps, 25 remaining. You don't want to put it in the barriers at this point in time, although unfortunately for Luke, that's exactly what happened, and he's currently in the stream chat. So unfortunate for you, buddy. It does mean you could sit back and watch it with us.
We have a lot of battles forming here. Mikey looking pretty racy on Gatis, and then there's a little sort of bottleneck. It's Jerry with the seemingly much faster Andrew and Sean behind. Obviously Andrew will be quicker, he qualified ahead but for that grid place penalty, and Sean is already making fairly quick progress and sort of dodging all the accidents, and we'll see if they can mount an attack on the McLaren driver. Sean even looks down the inside of Andrew into turn 1.
Yep, couldn't quite get it done. Of course, he's shaping himself up for the run into the 2nd chicane. Just to answer somebody's question in the chat, yes, all the cars are the same. We are running on equal performance. Best way to do things. As Sean almost gets run off the road there by Drew. And Gatis has made the jump to 3rd place. Watching this fight.
Guy's got some bad lag, and it's meant that Shane has gone into the back of him, and Jerry's gone back into the back of Shane. That's just some really bad lag from Guy's car there, unfortunately.
Oh dear.
And now Andrew's gone into the back of it, but I'm not sure he's there on Andrew's screen.
Oh, we've got 4 wide in the background.
Oh, it's carnage. Oh, there's a lot of front wings. Oh my word. I'm speechless as to what's just happened. It means Andrew fell on the back of Shane.
Great opportunistic driving there by Drew, who's going to pass quite a few people and go up to 6th place. Sean, however, languishing behind. Charlie gets a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pits. Of course, he probably was one of the people that had to change his front wing with that damage, as is Jerry, is also in the pits.
Yeah, Shane and Sean number 2 also picking up visible front wing damage in that incident. So that is a real shame. Lag has caused such a disruption down there. We were looking at a fairly good fight for the lower points, but it does mean that Andrew now has made some progress and he can hopefully try and latch on to Mikey ahead. He's really been improving pace-wise this season, and we'll just be hoping that he can get that done as Sean breezes past and the limping Shane for P7.
Yeah, I've got to say it's a shame that Mikey's not exactly doing the same as Lewis Hamilton did at Silverstone and cruised back up into the top 5 within this amount of time, but he's going to just put his head down. And for the sake of the gentleman that's just asked the question again, I shall answer it again. Yes, we are running on equal performance. All cars are exactly the same, other than driver. Of course. With half of this grid now being made up of fat pink drivers.
Well, yeah, I was going to say it's been a really impressive first outing for Ben in second there, representing Fat Pig Sports. He's got a bit of a gap now back to Gatis, which I didn't expect to happen. Obviously, Gatis has been superb this season, really impressive performances at tracks sort of we wouldn't expect him to be competitive at. And he's come to Monza where, you know, we think he'd be a little bit more competitive, and he is indeed running in third, you know, doing himself proud. He is currently third in the championship, like I said. Perhaps expect him to be making a bit more of an advance on Ben as Sean gets the move done on Andrew halfway down the straight.
Oh, come on, Joe. I would have expected you to put a bit more fight into it than that. As we look at Sean number 2. Getting quite close.
Andrew is coming back at Sean here.
Oh, yes, he is. Oh, he's running it down, almost down the pit wall. Banging wheels with Sean number 1. Oh, and Sean cuts across his nose, but manages to escape any damage. I don't think Drew's going to be very happy with that, and he's going to probably try his best to try and sling one up the inside into the second chicane. Not close enough.
Shane is close enough to Sean number 2 though, around the outside of the Roger chicane, but can't quite get it done. These two, the battle of the front wing damage cars, and they're still putting up a great fight, which is good to see.
Oh!
Mikey has lost his rear end. Surprise, surprise.
No,
he's in the
that's got to be Lesmo 2. No, that's not even Lesmo 2. That's Lesmo 1. He's crashed out on. How has he gone off there?
Oh, it's on the entry to the. How has he done that?
How has he crashed there?
I've never seen anyone crash on the entry to Lesmo 2. That is sensational. Shane's coming back at Sean number 2.
Troy's got a little bit of damage, so I'm not sure what happened. Of course, he has left the session now, but I'm sure I'm going to see a very expletive-filled Facebook message.
It's not what he'd want. He's been struggling with the rear end of his car since I've known him, which is coming up towards 2 years. Obviously, you've known him a lot longer, probably more like 6 or 7.
Yep, I think I've known him since season 2 of this league.
Well, has he always had this rear end problem? Because
Yes, he has.
he struggles to keep it together.
I mean,
every race it seems.
I mean, he's especially had rear end problems today after his canned curry he had for the Grand Prix.
That was a risky
that
one.
wouldn't have helped. That would make your rear end loose. Stretch the imagination. Gatis now side by side with Ben for second place. I don't know if I think Ben made a mistake because the gap was well over a second.
Must have done.
Gatis does a nice switchback manoeuvre. Probably have DRS. Oh, neither have DRS according to my screen. Ben going to try and run it down the outside. Probably not a smart move. As Sean number 2 pits, so I guess he's had enough of that front wing damage.
Yeah, well he did. It was in a huge battle with Shane and Gerard who continued to fight, but Shane had just got the move done into Parabolica, and I think he chose that moment to dive into the pits and make a front wing changes. Sean number 2 is, one of our more competitive drivers, so he will not have liked languishing at the back with the lack of front downforce. So in the pits he comes, and we'll see what progress he can make in the rest of the race.
Just having a look at the gap between Sean and
Andrew, it's come down about half a second on that straight.
It has indeed. Let's go back to that battle as Gerard has just passed a newcomer. Our newcomer also running with a bit of damage. Struggling, especially through the Ascari chicane.
Yeah, Ben Pitts from P3. It's an early one.
His tyres have cried enough.
I think Sean's made a mistake at Lesmo too. He's been dropping speed rapidly to Andrew down the back straight. And we'd expect him to be more than on the tail of Troy at this point, but yeah, his progress has been halted there with an incident. Ben has played it safe and gone onto the medium tyres. The soft tyres could probably run to the end from, well, lap 8 would be pushing it, but lap 9, 10, 11 is sort of soft tyre territory.
Yeah, Sean now putting his foot down and has left Drew for dead. Gap between himself and Troy now just 1.5 seconds. So Troy's going to be getting that Jaws music playing in his head in a minute. AOR Curly, I don't think I would suggest fapping to this. He's not another fapper, is he?
Unfortunately, he hasn't approached us for a contract, but it's good to see that he is showing his support for this this new team, and the Fappy Sports boys, of course, Sean running in 4th and Ben having just made that pit stop in 7th place.
Oh, I'm sorry. Drew Pitts from 5th place. I think he's going to put on the medium tyre. No, he's putting the soft tyre on, and away he goes. So that's going to be interesting. I wonder if Sean number 1 will pick to cover him off, because he dropped another half. Oh no, he hasn't dropped another half second. He's gained about 6 or 7 tenths on Troy this lap alone, so he's probably going to be trying to pass him into Parabolica, if not Ascari. In DRS.
It's Sean, so I assume it will be Ascari.
I was almost going to say he's probably going to try and pass him into Lesmo too from that far back. I mean, we've seen him do more ridiculous moves. Here we go. He's going to look to the inside, and for once backs out the move.
See, there's the maturity we're talking about. I'd say, last season he might have chucked it down the inside there, but he's thought better of it and has lined himself up well to get the move done, if not into Parabolica, into the first chicane. But it depends, will one of these or both of these two hit?
Troy's pitting. Shaw continues. Mitchell pits from the lead and Gatis continues. So where do you think this maturity has actually come from? Do you think it's come from just him driving in general, or is that something that you guys down at FAT have, I don't know, tried to instill in him?
Well, I mean, he was only announced as a FAT esports signing today, so we haven't had time to instill our sort of mantra and get him in the right mindset. But just from competing against him in this league, he has been moaned a lot in the past for some of the aggressive moves he made back on F1 2016 and then transferring them over onto this game. And of course, he does have freak races where he racks up about 700 time penalties. So he has, been consciously trying to rectify those issues with his driving style because he knows he has the pace to be incredibly competitive on his day. And it's good to see that he is making more measured overtakes. I think the first time I really experienced it was Canada last season in the pouring rain, where I think I was holding him up in the lead of that race, and I was fully expecting him to be completely torpedoed, but he sized up the move over a number of laps and got it done cleanly. And I think since then we've seen a much more composed Sean, but he does still have the odd time penalty issue.
As he and Gatis make their way into the pits, I was just following Drew, who is right on the back of Troy. So I don't know if Troy made another mistake or if he just had a very slow pit stop, but I did not expect to see Drew half a second off him. Let's see where Sean comes out. I think Sean just about beats Troy. Does he? Yes, he does. As Troy had to go defensive from Drew down the pit straight. So now Sean can get off after Gatis, who is 2.5 seconds down the road. And Gatis has been repassed by Ben in the pit stop phase. But that's not going to stop him trying to get that position back. Just notice Gerard leads the Grand Prix as he's not stopped yet. Mitchell in quite a comfortable 8. Yeah. And Mitchell with quite a comfortable 8.5 second gap between himself and the next car. But of course, if Sean does put himself in that third place, I think that gap's going to come down.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see some good battles form as well now. Obviously, Ben is currently ahead of Gatis, but on the slower tyre, or slightly older tyre. I expect Gatis to try and make a move soon, but he's not great in a straight line, it seems. And I think Troy as well is really struggling for straight line speed, so that everyone appears to be sort of closing in a little bit with the RS, but Andrew is making such big gains on Troy down the start-finish straight, and he might be tempted to have a look into turn 1. Surely he is. Come on, Andrew.
No, he backed out of that. That surprises me. I know
Drew's
been trying to.
There.
Yeah, I know Drew's been trying to be a bit more aggressive of late, and that doesn't really show any sort of aggression. Armageddon sections sort of calmed down a little bit for the time being. Sean now just 6/10 behind Gatis, so he's absolutely flying right now. I'm not really sure who's got the fastest lap right now. Let's have a look. I believe it is Mitchell. It is indeed on the 23.1, and he's just given himself a penalty. But he is 8.5 seconds in the lead currently.
And making a move on the Haas driver.
He is. I don't know if to watch him. Yep. Right, that move's done. Let's go back to Armageddon section as Sean sizing up Gatis. Probably not going to have a look into Parabolica because he's going to want DRS. And this is going to be terrifying because there will be a two-way DRS fight down the pit straight as Gerard pits. And Sean managed to set the fastest lap just then on the 22.7. Wow, Gatis had no straight line speed as Sean just cruises past him into turn 1.
I mean, Gatis was in a fat sandwich there and just sort of had to back out under braking, but yeah, incredible on the brakes there. Sean, so much more confidence than Gatis, and really made that move stick into turn 1 to make it a double podium for FAT Esports now.
Oh, Sean gave himself a penalty. I saw his name just flash up there with Gerard. Gerard Gatis, who's attacking him back again. Nope, that's Sean attacking Ben. Do ignore me. I mean, the idea of being in the middle of a fap sandwich is kind of messed with my brain a little bit. As Sean takes the position, so he's now up to second place. Troy's given himself a penalty now as well. Gatis now attacking Ben for third, but again has no straight line speed and can't do the pass.
This has got to be the one, surely. Ben will have DRS on Sean, though that might just give him an advantage.
Yeah, Ben's just driving straight back past Gatis again, who's also got DRS. As Drew passes Troy for 5th place. Or does he? Oh, come on boys, don't crash into each other. Good move there by Drew. There's some of that aggression that I was talking about. He is now officially up into 5th.
Yep, and Sean made a mistake at turn 1, which when it got very tight between Ben and Gatis, Ben just holding on to that position around the outside of the first apex at the Rettifilio. So some great moves going on there, but the penalty situation as it is now, I think would put Andrew in a next third position. And we saw him gain hugely from penalties. I think it was in Canada, he went from 6th to 2nd. Just through penalties alone. So he's in another situation here where he's been very good with track throughout the race and has somehow found himself on the verge of a potential podium here for Red Bull.
Fantastic stuff. You're on lap 16 of 27. Mitchell currently leads the Grand Prix. 10 seconds behind him is Sean. Well, I say 10 seconds. Well, no, Sean's got a penalty as well, so it is exactly how it is. Ben in 3rd place, Gatis in 4th, who I don't know how much wing he's put on the back of that car. I think he's got an entire barn on the back, because even with DRS he's just going absolutely nowhere, and probably Drew's going to attack him into the Rettifilio. He looks to the inside, and that's going to be no. Backs out of it. He probably could have had a go from there. But of course doesn't want to give himself an accidental penalty, I guess. This is of course letting Sean drive away and negate any sort of time penalty that he gets, so these guys are going to want to clear this pack quite quickly.
Yeah, Andrew seems to have the most straight line speed of the bunch. Obviously Ben without any DRS and Andrew getting a double toe, if you like, so I think it's only a matter of time before he makes the move on Gatis, and look at him just scythe past, no DRS needed. Just pulls out of the slipstream and makes the pass for 4th place. Can he make it 2 places in 2 corners on the run down to turn 1?
Gatis attacking back, but with the DRS, there we go. Just drives straight away. He's going to be attacking Ben. Is he? No. He needs to try and get as close as possible out of here. Remember, he's got the softer tyres on, so he'll have more grip, theoretically, out of the corner. With his straight line speed advantage, he should close up. Maybe have a look into a Ascari. And it does surprise me how much the drivers are, how much of that orange sausage curb that the drivers are taking into that first part of the Rettifilio.
Yeah, there's a line. Oh, there's professional.
Short number 2 in the barriers.
On the exit of, I saw him go a little bit wide on the exit of the Roger chicane and a couple of corners before, and now he's put it in the wall. But yeah, there is a line through that chicane where you can just sort of bounce over the curb as if it's not there, and if you get it wrong it does go badly for you. But Andrew now really sizing up a move on Ben. I doubt he'll be able to get it done around the outside of Parabolica.
Yeah, of course he is going to get the undercut. car? Yes, he does. And a healthy dose of DRS should get... Oh, no. Oh, that's going to be brave if you're going to try it into there. He almost put himself on the grass. Great defensive driving from Ben. Although I'm not quite sure why he's defending so hard when I'm pretty sure Ben's got a penalty. And Drew does not.
Ben doesn't have a penalty, no. 2 warnings on lap 2 and 3, but yet to get a penalty.
Oh, well, there we go.
So this is a fight for 3rd place, yeah, on track.
About 18 of 27. And the Armageddon section is 3rd, 4th and 5th. And Charlie getting another stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I'm not quite sure what he's doing. Because
Speeding in the pits.
I mean, to get that penalty once is okay, fair enough. But to get it every single, because I'm pretty sure every race he's been in, he's sped in the pits. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I don't know if he needs to be.
He'll learn one day.
Yeah, I don't know if he needs to be another inductee into Fat Esports. Maybe take him under your wing.
We're definitely sizing him up. I can't deny that.
You're sizing him up for a fat. Okie dokie. We move on. This battle still continues. As Jerry gives himself a penalty for speeding in the pits.
Got to remember as well, this battle is for more than just a podium position as Troy goes into the naughty bit. But, Andrew and Ben currently sit right next to each other in the standings. Ben currently sitting in P6, Andrew in 8th, behind retired. So he gets another penalty, so that drags him through to his class for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, this is a fight, a championship fuels fight as well, and Andrew might just get it down into a Ascari.
Drew's had enough. No, he does not. As Ben's given himself that penalty.
He's forced the time penalty there, Andrew. Great, intelligent driving.
The cerebral assassin of Formula 1 manages to force the penalty. He might not need it though, as he's already on the inside. He'll have DRS. I've got to say, Ben's got great initial straight line speed without the DRS. To the point where he manages to just drive straight back into a defensive position and defend the place. So I'm not quite sure what Drew's doing. Or if he's just not got the straight line speed.
It's like he gets too much of a good acceleration, gets alongside him, and suddenly needs some more slipstream to get in front. So he needs to be a bit further back, I think, in terms of sizing up Ben. But one thing that does worry me is that as soon as it goes wrong for Ben, one thing, it starts to capitulate, but he's right back in the fight now as he, Andrew, Gatis and Troy all sit on the same amount of penalties. Troy might have 2.
Yeah, he does.
So it is now back to being a straight fight for the podium as Gatis is looking up the outside of Andrew down towards Ascari, but he's just got no straight line speed.
And there you go, Drew just pulls straight back in front of him again. Tremendous battle for your 3rd place. Gatis now have another go, but again can't do anything with it. Troy ever closer. Can he finally get that 4th place that he's been moaning about most of the season? We do not know.
Yeah, Andrew had 1 penalty in the first 19 laps, and they got 2 penalties in 2 laps. So that's unfortunate for him, but it does create a fantastic scenario for us now, as both Gatis and Troy struggle to get any power down whatsoever on the exit of the first chicane.
Yeah, this is almost reminding me of the end of the British Grand Prix in real life this past weekend. A nice 6-lap run to the end of the Grand Prix, and we don't actually know who's going to finish 3rd. this rate, as Drew really attacking Lesmo 2 to get as close as he can with the DRS into Ascari. We ride on board with him. And Troy gives himself a third penalty. He needs to be careful, because if he gets any more, Gerard, I don't know how many penalties he's got, but he may lose a further place. Oh, wow. Drew settled down. And look at Gatis! Gatis has actually driven past Drew, but Drew's just going to drive straight back past him, surely with the DRS. No, he can't. Gatis putting his car in a very nice place. And that's going to annoy the hell out of Drew for the rest of this race, I'm sure.
Yeah, really intelligent driving from Gatis there. He knows he doesn't have the top end speed to compete, so any chance he gets to complete a move early on in one of these long straights here at Monza, he needs to take, and he's unsettled Drew there. He's taking a really poor line through the chicane, and Gatis can now try and force an error out of Ben and try and get a podium for himself. Ben, having said that, I mean, he's on the slower tyre, the medium tyre, but at this point we're at a crossover stage whereby the softs will have worn out a lot more than the more durable mediums and start to be actually a disadvantage for those on the yellow wall tyres. So Ben might get more and more comfortable as the race goes on, which is a worry for those behind him, because he's looked comfortable enough for the last 10 laps.
Yeah, Drew actually, like you said, made a mistake into the second chicane, and he's now falling back. I've got to say, wow, Gatis got some tremendous turning to the Parabolica. He's got a fantastic front end on that Williams. Sean sets the fastest lap of the race on lap 22. Gatis having a look at Ben, but again, can't do anything with it. Ben with a little bit of a weave, but that's legal. Out of turn 1 he goes. This is a slightly shorter straight, so Gatis is going to want to sling it down the inside, but no, he's dropping back. Again, just has to sit there until Drew gets involved again, I think.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be that Gatis is the most racy of the drivers. His tyres seem to be holding up fairly well. He looks the quickest out of them, but the equaliser is his lack of straight line speed, and it's creating a good race here. But so long as Ben doesn't make a mistake, he shouldn't lose the position. Having said that, this is Ben, and he doesn't always have the greatest of composure, but the car's starting to look a bit twitchy actually, that Salva, so if he does make a mistake, we've seen how quickly Gatis can make the move and bite when you are hurt. But nothing to say that he's going to get him down to turn 1. He really needs to maximise his exit out of Parabolica to have a chance.
He's just not getting anywhere at all, and now Drew is right back on the back of him again, just like I said. Drew needs to attack. We've got effectively 3 laps remaining. Let's see what he can do. Of course, the drivers are going to be a bit slim on fuel. One of the highest fuel consumption races of the season. These guys need to keep an eye on that. Oh, Sean's given himself another penalty. So any danger of Mitchell losing this one is now officially over.
Yeah, I was about to say Mitchell is 2 warnings in towards his next penalty, which would have made the gap only 3 seconds. But just as I was about to say that, Sean himself picked up another penalty. But yeah, I think the fight to really be looking at is the fight for third. And of course, these guys are under so much pressure to keep it between the white lines. They're all on the same amount of penalties. They will know the competitors have held, but not necessarily how much. So they've just got to make sure that they keep it clean, and the pressure to not make any mistakes with such fast apexes for Ascari, not to run it wide just a little bit, is immense, and these guys will really be feeling it. What a fight this is for P3.
Yeah, this is a tremendous result for the championship. Another 7 points knocked off the championship lead. I mean, we are getting to the business end of the season now. This is the last European race, of course. Of course, we go to Russia after Singapore. So yeah. Oh, Gatis has given himself a penalty.
And he's got out of shape as well.
Right on the back of him. Surely we'll just drive straight past and take fourth. Oh, please don't touch each other. It's not the first time I've said that.
Well, neither of them are FAP esports drivers, so there shouldn't be an issue with any inappropriate touching, but I think Gatis off the mark. He's got some superb traction, and I was looking at Andrew. He kept it in 5th gear under acceleration, and I was screaming at him in my head, just go down to 4th and maximise your acceleration, but he held it in a higher gear, and it gave Gatis a chance to get his left front tyre alongside, but it wasn't enough as they got further down the straight. But Andrew can now really focus all his efforts. He's got 1 lap left to try and get his 4th podium of the season.
Oh, and Gatis has just thrown it at the scenery. So that puts him well and truly out of it. I mean, as if the penalty didn't already. So now we've just got the 2-car battle for 3rd. Drew has got the end of this lap and the next. Oh, and that's a big slide from Gatis as we start the final lap of this race. Mitchell leading from Sean number 1. Ben and Drew just half a second apart. Gatis in 5th, Troy 6th, Gerard 7th, Shane 8th, Jerry in 9th. Very, very quiet afternoon for Jerry. I think that's probably the 2nd or 3rd time I've mentioned his name the entire race. Charlie a minute behind him, and Guy a lap down in 11th. But I do believe Guy isn't actually part of this race anymore.
No. But yeah, it'll be a great result here for Mitchell. I mean, as Andrew bins it at the Roger chicane, so he went into the gravel and he's lost that time to Ben, so it looks as though that is your P3 and 4 wrapped up, so long as there are no penalties into Ascari. But Mitchell has finished on the podium in every race but 1 that he started since China. So he's been absolutely sensational. Such a shame at the first 3 races of the season.
Yeah, and of course his non-start in Canada as Mitchell wins the Italian Grand Prix. Sean's going to cross the line in 2nd place. Troy, while we were talking, has given himself yet another penalty. Ben crosses the line in 3rd. Drew crosses the line in 4th. Gatis in 5th. Troy's going to come home in 6th. Gerard is going to come out of the final corner and take 7th. No, he's not. He's going to take 6th. So Troy falls down a position to 7th. Got a while to wait until Shane crosses the line. He's going to cross the line in 8th position. Good first run out of the league for him. And Jerry's going to cross the line. He's going to be the last man to actually cross the line in 9th. And of course Charlie rounds out your top 10. wasn't exactly the best barnstorming race for the lead, but of course it was very good for third. And Ben did tremendously well to keep it there. Great drive from him.
Yeah, really superb defensive performance, and he made the tactical decision to go with the undercut after a little mistake that he made, which of course puts you at risk of going onto the slower tyre, but really made it work for himself. Made that Sauber as wide as he possibly could, and defended brilliantly for his third podium of the season.
Congratulations for Gerard for not getting a penalty.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty enjoyable race for third. Can't really say much about the top two because we didn't see Mitchell for most of it. Sean was busy passing cars left, right and centre, and did complete the Lewis Hamilton. So it's that time again. Driver of the day.
Obviously, I think there are two main candidates. Well, maybe three, I suppose. The top three all put in great races and for such different reasons. So it's sort of take your pick out of them. But I think I'm going to give my driver of the day to Mitchell. He absolutely nailed qualifying, and his competitors Mikey and Sean just were nowhere, and it really cost them. So almost a faultless drive, shame about the couple of penalties, but Mitchell has been sensational since after the first three disappointing races for him, and I think he was my driver of the day today.
And I've got to say, I'm gonna. Well, Luke says his driver of the day is Sean. Last second, but of course this is Sean we're talking about here.
It's still very impressive. He got the sort of moves done by the halfway point and settled in for a long race. But yeah, great performance by him as well.
I think I'm gonna go with your I think he was your first driver, Ben. I'm going to go with him. Withstood all of that pressure for pretty much the majority of the second stint, and managed to get through and still finish in third. So tremendous drive from him. So I think he's my driver of the day. Made the interesting tactic choice of putting on that medium tyre, and while everyone else was going for the soft, and it definitely worked.
Yeah, I definitely think it was a really fantastic performance for his first outing for FAP Esports, and he made it count, getting that podium. It's the kind of driving we love to see. I think he is known for putting on a defensive performance. It's reminiscent of what Harry was able to do in Bahrain, if I remember rightly. So yeah, really great to watch, and yeah, definitely I think worthy of your pick of driver of the day.
And also another question I may need to ask for probably for next season more than anything else. What exact moves are we gonna see from FAP Esports? Are we gonna see them pick up any more drivers? Are we gonna see them sort of, I don't know, move into sponsorship? The league could probably do with a sponsor.
It's early days, so we'll see where it takes us. Obviously, we're on the verge of success already, with Sean edging ever closer to the title. So it's early days. We'll keep the roster small for now and see where it takes us. We have had many applicants over the past 2 days, and we've taken the pick of the bunch.
You will have a week to fap over them and find out which one or ones you're going to pick, because of course the next time everybody watching will see us is next week. We will have we should be back to our normal grid. As long as there are no more football matches going on at the time. And it will be the Singapore Grand Prix. So that's going to be, what's the phrase? Hell in a handbasket or something?
Yeah, totally different challenge for the drivers. It's not just stick your foot down and go. It's a very technical track and quite demanding. A long race that will be.
Yeah, so it's that time again. Next week, Tuesday, same time, 8 o'clock UK time for the Singapore Grand Prix. From myself, from Michael, from race department, and from our newly inaugurated FAP Esports. We'd like to thank all of you for watching this evening, especially whilst we've had the other
Yeovil game
event.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much for choosing us to spend your evening with, and we shall hopefully see you next week for the Singapore Grand Prix.